I'm going to show you how to create a gun for your VR application or game. This gun is going to fire bullets that interact with the objects in the environment around them. If you want to learn how to do that, please stick around until the end. Hi everyone. So in order to create this gun, the first thing that you want to do is import a package called Modern Guns Handgun from the Unity store, and I'll put that in the description below. After that, you want to go to the file, and you want to go to prefabs and to the handgun silver, and you want to select the model that has the shooting in its name. From there, we're going to import it into our scene and just change the name to gun and put it at 1 for the Y so we can see it. And there we have it. Here we have our gun. Now we're going to add a rigid body component and the OVR grabbable, so we can make our gun act like a physical object and we're able to grab it with our OVR hands. Next thing that you want to do is you want to create colliders and you want to add them to the grab points on the gun. So we're going to create an empty game object called collider, and then under that we're going to add cubes and we're going to reshape them so they fit the gun. And now that we're done, we can go ahead and remove the mesh renderer and the mesh filter components from these colliders, and then we'll be left with only the box collider component in both of these cubes. Now we want to go to our gun main object and we want to add these colliders to the grab points. So we're going to drag the first cube and the second one, and one by one we're going to put them into the grab points of the OVR grabbable script. Next thing that we want to do is we want to create an audio source, and then we want to add a gunshot sound. I already imported the gunshot. You could download any gunshot sound that you want and just put it in the audio clip component. And we want to turn off play on awake and lower the volume to 0.75. And then after that, what we want to do is we want to create a snap offset, which is going to allow us to grab the gun from the same spot every single time. So we want to create an empty object and call it grab offset, and you can go ahead and set it to the same coordinates that I'm going to do right here, so you don't have to calculate them all by yourself. Next, what we want to do is create a prefab out of this grab offset, and then from there we can go ahead and delete the grab offset in the scene. And then we want to go to our gun and drag the grab offset into the snap offset component and check snap position and snap orientation. After that, what we want to do is create a new script and attach it to the gun object, and we're going to call it VR shoot. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to edit our script. As you can see, we now have the VR shoot, and I went ahead and opened two other scripts called simple shoot and OVR grabber. First thing we want to do is go to the OVR grabber script, and we want to create a new function that's going to retrieve our controller, and we're going to call that function getController. Then we're going to change the type to OVR input.controller because that's what it's going to be returning. Next, we want to go to our simple shoot script, and then from there, what we want to do is comment out the update function, and then we want to create our own function called start shoot. And the reason we're doing that is because the update function was used previously to check if the trigger was pressed, but we want to create our own function that starts the shooting process. So we're going to put the same thing that was previously in the update function right there into the start shoot. Lastly, we want to go to our VR shoot script, and we want to declare some variables. First, we want to create a simple shoot variable and just call it simple shoot. And we also want to create an OVR input button so we can select which button we want to press to start the shooting. Then after that, we want to create a private grabbable object and a private audio source object, which are going to have the grabbable component and the audio source that we added our shooting sound to. In the start function, we're going to set the grabbable object and audio source. And we're going to do that by getting the components that are already attached to the game object, which is the gun game object. Lastly, inside the update function, what we want to do is check if the object, which is the gun in this case, is grabbed, and if the button that is being pressed is the button that we want on the correct controller. The reason we are doing that is we want to check if the button is pressed only on the controller that is currently holding the gun. And that's why we're going to use the getController function that we created in the OVR grabber script. Lastly, we're going to select the simple shoot.startShoot function, and we're going to play the audio that we already attached to this gun object. Now that we're back in Unity, what we want to go ahead and do is go to our gun object and then grab the model under the gun object into the simple shoot and select primary index trigger for the shoot button, which is going to make us shoot with the trigger. After that, what we want to go ahead and do is create cube objects just so we can shoot them with our gun and test it out. So I'm going to go ahead and create a cube, and then I'm going to resize it to make it smaller. And then after that, I'm going to change the material to red material. And from there, I can just duplicate this cube and create a couple more. And then lastly, what we want to do is add rigid bodies to all these cubes so they act as physical objects. And finally, we want to go to our bullets and change the collision detection to continuous dynamic in order for the bullets to interact and collide with the cubes that we have. We are now ready to go and test in the headset. As you can see, we are now in the headset and we can see the gun that we put on the table. We can grab it and it snaps perfectly in our hand. And if we click the index trigger, you can see that it shoots the bullets and they interact with the cubes that we put on the table. If you liked this video and you found it useful, please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you'd like next. Thank you for watching.